One thing I'm quickly kind of finding out, I'm going to attempt to do this with the shocks on there, but the shocks are, you know, they're yay tall, or the control arms are like this, and the shocks are, you know, a lot taller. So I'm trying to keep from jacking the truck up anymore. But my fear is that with keeping those shocks on there, that it's going to keep them from being able to slide up and under this framer right here. So I may have to end up taking the shocks off. Right now I'm just going to try to get it in position real tight where you are right now, so the tripod is pushed back almost all the way against the wall. It's against the toolbox, and so I can't really push you back anymore, but I need to push the suspension that way and then turn it so I get past this bumper. Right here's the shock mount, so I mean the upper part of the shock, so it kind of tells you how tight I'm in here. Let me see what I can do. So I guess hang tight. Now, if I haven't mentioned it, I really need a new floor jack. Anybody out there in YouTube land want to donate one to me, I'd be much appreciative. If you happen to have a tool wholesale company or something like that. This thing that I'm using is an old Laren that I got back in '99, I think, at Walmart. So I'm going to have to break down and buy myself one. Or acquire one, get one somehow. But I've lost, I'm down to one wheel on this pathetic thing. So as I'm jacking it up, it's literally up there doing this number. Which is making it difficult. But I mean, that was the missus telling me I had 3 minutes till dinner. Thumbs up on that. You gotta love a good woman. Even though y'all don't see her out here much, she's actually very supportive, so I think more than what most would be. I don't know how much this thing weighs, but it's a good amount, I'm quite sure. Alright, looks like I'm for sure going to have to take the shock mount, or the shocks off for one, and may have to end up jacking this frame up a little bit too. Really do not want to do that. Not thinking I have much of a choice on the matter. I'll show y'all what I'm up against, just so y'all get an idea here. Basically, this is the front end. Of course, there's my frame. And you can see the shock clearly in the way. So let me, it just unbolts right down in there, right there to be exact. So let me take that off. Then the obstacle is going to be, can I get this cross member in behind that mount right there, which is the old radius arm mount. right there. I don't know, it's going to be tight, but we'll see. But since I got the 3 minutes, I'm going to go grab myself some grub, and we'll see. Hang tight. Next little video, just so y'all know, I'm going to get these shock mounts off. God, I keep calling them shock mounts. Get the shocks off, and hopefully I'll be able to have this thing up and under. Once I get it under there, I'm going to go ahead and jack it up and see what I can do about. This is the original mounting point, the front mounting point. I'm going to see what I can do about either using these or welding this thing in. If I weld it in, this whole section right here gets cut off, which basically makes it into, you know, if I cut that side off, basically makes it directly into a generic crossmember, self-contained kind of crossmember. But I don't know. Either way, there's going to be welding and some mounts made. This mount, if you look, and then right behind it, if you track behind it, right there is the rear mount. So there's going to be a little bushing that need to go there. They're in line with each other. It's just a matter of where it's going to line up on the frame. I've seen them to where they line up on the outside of the frame, like on this side, and then I've seen them where they line up on the other side. So I don't know, we'll just have to see. Hang tight. Alright, a couple things I wanted to show you guys. The bottom of the truck, there's the driver's side door, and I'm starting to get this thing in there. I jacked it up more. I basically jacked it up about as high as I can get it without putting the jack stands on blocks, which I'm trying to prevent doing. But even with doing that, as you can see, this rear cross member, which is a radius arm cross member, which is also the same cross member that goes across under the tranny. It's a solid cross member. It's definitely a load bearing cross member, if you will. I don't want to take it out if I have to, if I don't have to. So I'm going to try to keep that in there as best as possible. But with that, and then with the my engine hoist here that supports my engine, and with these arms sticking out like this, there's not enough room. So I went ahead and measured, you know, because in the earlier in the video I was talking about, you know, I didn't know if I wanted to keep these arms on there and mount them that way, or if I wanted to, you know, weld it across the seam right there. So I went ahead and measured the frame. The frame measures out just over 34 inches. It's like 34 inches plus or minus like 1/8 of an inch kind of thing. It was kind of hard to measure, but for this thing to fit 34 inches across, I'm going to have to, as it is, I'm going to have to notch that piece right there, and on this side the same thing, that piece right there. So that tells you anything, it's telling you that there's no way that if I use these mounts, I'd have to build mounts on the inside to bolt these two. For me and for what I'm trying to do, I think it'd be a lot easier if I just made a plate and welded it directly, and then boxed everything in, and then of course tied everything in together. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is go ahead and take this sway bar off, bolt right there, and of course a bolt on the other side, and then once I get that sway bar completely removed, then I'm going to go ahead and cut these arms off. Then once I cut them off, again, like I said earlier in the video, it'll, for all intents and purposes, it'll be basically a self-contained cross member that will allow me to slide the cross member under, get it centered up. What I plan on doing is getting some metal probably some 10 gauge, 1/8 inch. I'm not real sure. It just depends on what I can get my hands on, and basically mimic the frame. And what I mean by that is have it come down and then at an L right there, do a 90 degree, so it's going to lay straight up on that frame. And what I'll do is I'll use one of these existing holes, and I'll drill a hole in that plate, that outside plate, and that'll be my guide hole. And then I'll go ahead and slide the cross member here in place. Once I get the center line and everything, I'll tack that extra piece of metal that I made onto this cross member, and then I'll pull everything down, and then I'll weld the cross member, that piece of metal to that cross member real good, and then I'll again attach it, slide it back up there after I clean the frame up and everything, and make sure my guide holes are in place, you know, bolted in, whatever I need to do, and then weld all the way around that guide piece. And then once that's done, I'll obviously, you know, box the inside of the frame up, and then do any other structural gussets or anything like that that need to be done. So I guess stay tuned. I'm going to get this sway bar off and then work on getting these arms out. I'm not sure if I'm going to get the arms off tonight, simply because it's past probably 10:30, 11, and I don't want to yell. I don't want to get yelled at by my neighbors, but then again, I might, just because I need to get it done. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching.